Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's right now sharp at 2:01, which is right now. It's time for us to continue our WMYSK Online series here today. And today we have a very special guest who have been appearing for the past 17, 16 days. All right. So my name is Wesley. And today here, let me show you someone who's new here today. And I'm very privileged and honored to introduce her. So we've got Susian. Everybody say hi to Susian. Susian, say hi to your friends.
Hi everyone.
Okay, Suzanne, would you just want to do a very quick introduction about yourself? I think it's good that you introduce yourself rather than I introduce you. Suzanne, stage is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Susian. Usually people would call me Suli, not Susian, because it ends up being pronounced as Sosian, like so
Oh,
boring. Yeah, yeah. And I'm a freelance model. I'm also Miss Universe Malaysia 2019 third runner-up.
wow.
I think like a lot of us, we actually run a few jobs because tak cukup cari makan, right? So I'm also actually a full-time event organizer.
Right. All right, good. Thank you very much to be part of to join me today to host because to all of you here watching right now, today is a special edition. I would say a wrap up because we have been doing this for the past 16 days, Lawrence.
Yes, 16 days.
Today is 17, right?
17, yes.
So today is 17, and we thought we don't just want to end this here today because we got some exciting news which I think we're going to launch it to you later, and so we thought of putting a wrap up to our Facebook Live here, and of course the best wrap up is why not we get Lawrence right to do this wrap up show here today. So he's gonna be our guest here. So this side, he's gonna be our guest here today, and today's Facebook interview, Facebook Live will be a road not taken with our founding chairman of MyPerintis, Lawrence, and also I want to invite all of you here who are here today. Drop us a hi, let us know you're here, say hi, and do help us to also like and share this post so it can benefit many more people out there. And especially if you do have us a like as well, so we would like to you may stand a chance to walk away with a Ton Mahathir limited edition touch and go card. And therefore, so these are the few things with you. All right, so stay tuned towards the end because we have some exciting news. This is not the end of our Facebook Live. We will be having special programs next week for all of us here. All right, so for those of you here, just say hi to Lawrence right here. He'll be our guest today. All right, so let's go through a very casual chat first. Okay, so Lawrence, my question to you is this. For the past 16 days, right? So you were at the other corner here, you interview people. So now we interview you back, correct? So how has it been for you to be on this show here for the past 16 days and you've never done Facebook Live before? So how was this experience for you?
Yes, thank you so much, Wesley. Hi, Sushan. Been some time. Thank you so much for those who are here now. Thank you for the question as well. I think, like I said publicly yesterday, was the first time I actually did FB Live together with you, Wesley. So it's a very good experience. For the past 16 to 17 days, we have so many different speakers. I think one very crucial part is we have people from different industry or different corners and different walks of life. You know, we have celebrities, we have YouTubers, but we even have the SME owners to come and speak. So I think it's very good experience. And even yesterday night, I was watching one of my a singer that I really love a lot, Rin. So I think this is a very new experience to me, and I think it's much more tiring than meeting people every day. So I think that is a very good experience overall.
Yeah, and I want to applaud for this because so for those of you here, quite interesting because I think Lawrence, we have never really spoken about MyPerintis in our Facebook Live, because it is we came up with a stand is we are the one here to do self-promotion, and that's the reason why probably many of you here do not know what we really do. And I still remember Lawrence approached me for the very first time and said, "Hey bro, let's go and do Facebook Live." I said, "Can who do?" Then you do, I was like, "Oh, okay." Then I say, "Hey, why not you go and join me, right?" And that's how we decided. From the very first start, getting Go Liu Ying, right? And then one by one, like, to get Tone, and then there you go for the past 16. So I think that's a very interesting achievement that we have. Okay, so speaking of which, let's come to the topic here today. So a lot of people know you, of course, as a founding chairman, and a lot of people here have been seeing you doing this here with me. So I think I want to take this chance that I want to pass this to you because I've never really asked you to introduce yourself and to talk about MyPerintis because again, we decide to give value to a lot of people out there. We decide not to talk about ourselves, but I think it's time for you to just quickly introduce yourself. And also, can you share a little bit about actually what is MyPerintis, Lawrence?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. I think you know me very well, and you have known me for 5 years since the first day of MyPerintis. And yes, I really do not like to always self promote, and I believe that good things, eventually people will find out and people will know. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. Of course, you know me. I'm not going to say my name. My name is there in front. Of course, I always publicly tell people I'm married with kids. That's for sure. So people who know me as well, I did biotech in my studies. But of course, I'm not doing anything on biotech at the moment.
Right.
I think forever, I'm not going to touch anything on biotech. I started MyPerintis 5 years ago. So this is the 5th year. And we started off as an NGO, and it's a youth-focused NGO on a few things, and slowly, eventually, we evolve. Last year, we were launched as a foundation, now known as Yayasan Perintis Malaysia, and we have actually opened up our pillars to more focus. But eventually, the main idea, the main vision is actually to promote youth activation. So we want to activate the youths and also to speak about purposeful lifestyle. So this is generally about MyPerintis. We look into education programs, entrepreneurship. We even go into arts and culture. We even go to a few other focus as well. But sometimes it depends as well, because whichever that is important for the young people, we will actually do it. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. I think Susian's line is not so good, right? Yeah, I think it's interesting because I personally know Lawrence since 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Was say time flies. 5 years ago, I still remember I first met you. I was moderating a social enterprise or a CSR forum or something like that. That's how I first met you, right? I think seeing that, I've heard of MyPerintis before. I think it's interesting that you have come a long way, right? So my question to you is, I'm actually very curious, which I think I've never asked you before. What inspired you to start MyPerintis? I mean, like before this, what were you actually doing?
Yeah, I actually wrote a book a bit about myself last year. It was launched by Tun M as well. I actually wrote a little story about how I started MyPerintis and why. I think again, people who know me and read my news before, I was in F&B business. I way back I was in a few different businesses, and of course I had one of my biggest downfall 8 years ago. I think something that maybe a lot of young people may not have felt that bad. I feel I lose 6 million in the whole F&B venture that I had. Was one of my biggest setback. So 8 years ago, I was only 27 years old, very young and very energetic. But at the same time, I don't think while I do certain things. So I think that's why with that type of speed or things that I do, I never consider. And of course, then I failed in that business. It took me some time to recover. And eventually I realized that if the youth had more platforms and more opportunity to speak to different people, to learn from the successful people, have a platform where they can actually consult or even have mentors and advisors, I feel that I may not have failed badly. So my parents are teachers, and they are all in education business. So of course, they are in business as well, but they are not those very aggressive. They're very focused on what they like to do. But for me, I was overly aggressive. So I felt that. Once I failed, then I realized that if young people had such platform like I do, then I don't think I would have failed badly. So that's why I said, let's start a simple platform. At that time, it was not even formed as an NGO. It was just a platform. It was just a movement. So I just did a program called What Malaysian Youth Should Know, exactly what we are doing now. So the title says it all, What Malaysian Youth Should Know. So that's the series of the program. And from there, we did 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and eventually the programs became more. Yeah, so that was what I was doing before MyPerintis. So my inspiration is actually to have this platform for young people to actually come in and gain knowledge.
Okay. Yes. Speak about it. There's so much passion in you. I feel the energy, and that's first and foremost, I think.
So can you catch us, Susan? Susan, can you hear Susan?
One
Too power.
of the thing up. So this is a goal as well. Yes, as Ms. May know, Tune M is actually a patron of
Susan, can you hear Susan?
MyPerintis. Always every schedule so packed. Yeah.
Can you hear Susan?
How did you get to
Susan, we can't hear you. Susan.
the patron of
Okay. All right, interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just repeat. Not too sure if you can hear, because I can somehow catch some of the conversation from Susian. Apologize for those of you who are watching. I think the line is just not good.
Can you hear me?
But
Yes.
it's a bit laggy over the side, Susian. Let me just repeat the question on your behalf. Okay, so in this case, right, Lawrence, because so we know that Tun Mahathir is a patron of MyPerintis, and again, Tun M needs no introduction, right? So my next curious question is, how did you actually manage to get Tun M as a patron, and why Tun M?
So I think that usually that is the first question that people ask me.
Yeah.
And of course, it's definitely not how to say the wrong question to ask. But people who know me again know that I'm from the 80s, right? So I grew up in the 1980s. We go to school learning about Wawasan 2020, and of course, when I was born, he was already the prime minister. And the first car that I drove definitely was a Proton. So there's so many patriotism that we had during our school time, and etc. Of course, I still remember when I was young, the only time I met Tun was when he was still the prime minister. It was during a Hari Raya celebration open house that I go to his house. I touched his hand and I got the 1 ringgit coin. I do not know if you all know that there was a 1 ringgit coin. So from there onwards, I actually, of course, definitely, as a kid, and seeing the prime minister is something very, memorable. So as I grew up, of course, we continued to grow during his time. And when I first started MyPerintis, I felt that young people should actually take this chance to learn from a man like him. A man that has actually changed the country. I think a lot of people who studied history or geography, definitely you will see how Malaysia was like when he took over, and I thought when he left office, how was Malaysia? It is has grown and has became a developed country. So I felt that if MyPerintis is going to do this, and I felt that if it's going to be a channel where the young people should learn, it should be from him directly. So then I wrote a letter to him without knowing that he will be interested or not, or would he be even responding to me. So I actually wrote to him. He was already retired. I wrote to him, and to my surprise, he actually replied my letter, and he said, "Sure, let's catch up and let's meet up in his office."
Right.
So I was super nervous, and I went to his office, and then after that, of course, he asked me very sharp questions. So I always share this joke with my friends, right? The first time when I saw him, I was so nervous, I was so scared, I didn't know what to ask him. So my first question to Tun was, "Tun, do you know why I'm here to see you?" And as you know his attitude, he always like to answer people sarcastically, and then he will say, "No, I don't know. Why are you here for?" So eventually later, when I have more working relationship with him, I only realized that he actually have a schedule in front of him that tells who is he meeting and what is it for. So that actually made me felt a bit stupid for asking such a question. I was just so nervous that I don't know what to ask him. So eventually we spoke, and then after that I asked him about what is his view about if I start an organization that I would love him to be part of, and to be as a patron. And of course, then I invited him as well to do our very first program in Magic. So he speaks about Wawasan 2020. And of course, then that was 5 years ago. And of course, when we played the Wawasan 2020 song, he was shocked because he didn't realize that actually people still remember this vision. So from there, then he came to speak to about 500 youths. And then from there, he accepted the invitation to be the patron, and everything else is history. Then he became the patron of Apprentice.
Got that.
Wow, yeah. Indeed, everything is history right now. So many things have happened, and we have Tune M support throughout this whole journey with MyPerintis. Lawrence, I believe that your journey throughout this is not always smooth sailing. There's going to be like its ups and downs. Could you tell us more about your journey in MyPerintis for this past 5 years? And when the going gets tough, have you ever thought of giving up?
Very difficult.
Need tissue. This is need tissue.
Issue. Well, MyPerintis came in, started off very bumpy because of the patron, the figure Tun. So sometimes people misunderstood us as we are politically inclined when I formed the NGO. So there are people who actually form NGOs, and there are recently as well, there was another NGO form that is politically inclined. But I've told a lot of my friends, whoever, that no, I'm not interested in politics, but I just want to focus on youth development. But of course, again, people don't believe me because I was also affiliated to one political party previously. And at the end of the day, people always perceive that I use this platform to actually gain my political knowledge, where I tell 100 people that I meet, I will tell them that I have no interest in politics. I'm not interested in politics, and I just want to focus on the programs that I do. So it was a bumpy start because our patron actually made some statements during our first event. I think it's still viral on YouTube. You can have a look when you are free. But again, I felt that we just have to keep remembering why we start this platform. I think this is the most important idea that I always tell my friends. I have numerous times that I want to give up. Numerous. I can tell you it's numerous. But again, sometimes we just have to go back to the basics and just have to go back to think, why do we do this? Why do we want to start an organization for young people? So we just move on. And even during this MCO period, it's also a very difficult period for a lot of organizations, not only MyPerintis. And the thought of actually innovating is not just innovating, but do I have the thought of actually giving up? Yes, sometimes. But it's just that I felt, again, just to remember why you started this from the start, and you should just continue to move on. Maybe there are different ways to do things. And we started bumpy. In the middle of our journey, it was also bumpy. And until, of course, after general election, things are a little bit better. But of course, now again, it's bumpy again because of MCO. So yes, I thought of, but I will persevere, hopefully.
All right. I think personally for me, I've seen how Apprentice grown from strength to strength. I still remember back then when I first started, I was there during the AGM when my job was just to run an icebreaker. And it's interesting, then from there, they has grown to more people, then more events, more activations, then we have the board, they become Yayasan. I personally have felt that I think it's something which is quite interesting. And I know your story of you go against all odds, literally all odds, right? And I wouldn't want to explain to this on air. And I want to take this chance to just say thanks to those people watching right there, because I think Apprentice wouldn't be who we are today if not because of the people supporting this right now, including for those people who are watching right now and commenting right now, which I want to do some special shout out for people like Yen Tan, who says hi to every one of you here. Say hi to Yen. And so I got to know who's David Yong. David Yong is interesting because David Yong has been following us since for quite some time. I think David Yong remember that Lawrence liked to cook. That's why he asked you, do you intend to teach people how to cook?
Okay, I think the cooking is for my own consumption. question only.
So got people like Jana, of course. Jana, thank you so much for your contribution so far. Of course, Taskini as well. Really thanks on air. I want to thank you on behalf, and of course for all this contribution so far, right? Okay, and you spoke about one interesting point. Oh, Joyce Tay is here. Yeah, say hi to Joyce. Joyce Tay, thank you so much for joining right here, Joyce. All right. So again, today, if you see, there's a new face right here. Her name is Susian. Susian is my new host here today, because Susian and me will be interviewing Lawrence, because Lawrence has been interviewing people for the past 16 days. So today we must change roles a bit.
Yes,
All right.
about him.
So I want to do a follow-up question in regards of that. So you talk about MCO. I know MCO has been quite rough to a lot of people right here. So we have spoken to SMEs, sports, athlete, companies, banks, you name it. But we have never really spoken to an NGO like Perintis. So here's my question to you. How have MCO affected your operations in Perintis so far?
Yeah. So as many friends who know about MyPerintis, we are very focused on offline campaigns. So we have done a lot of offline campaigns for corporates, for SMEs, or even for the government agencies. So we do offline. When we say offline, means we reach out to them, we go to schools. I think personally, Wesley and Sushan has also been involved, by going to give talks, doing events, road shows, etc. So this is partially what we have been doing. Actually, not partially. It's actually mainly what we do for the past 4 years. So I think for the longest time, people know that I want to digitalize Perintis for very long. So, but we only get to start this a little bit of this idea in January this year. So in January this year, we actually revamped our internal team so that we have more people that has more experience in this. But unfortunately, we were not quick enough. We were still actually struggling to learn about the digital space. There are so many things to learn. Even I myself, to be very frank with you, I'm not familiar. I may have iPhone, I may have gadgets, but I actually don't really know how to function. Even WhatsApps, I actually have to ask my team on certain messages or certain emojis, and I think there's so much to learn. So we were not quick enough in terms of digitalizing MyPerintis, so we were struggling. And of course, then we were also actually on plan to do some campaigns. If you realize, we have the helmet program with Kurnia Insurance, so we were supposed to actually give out the helmets already at the beginning of the year. But because of all these things, we have to actually delay. I think most probably it's going to be until end of the year to be safe. So a lot of our offline campaigns are now no longer be able to be done. So it may have to be online. So I think that's why we have Facebook Live. We have not done Facebook Live for the past 5 years in MyPerintis. This is also the first time. I was also told to do a TikTok account, which I'm still very reluctant to. So because I think nobody wants to see me dance. So so I think there are certain things that I'm still learning. But this has affected us. Means a lot of physical programs has to be postponed or cancelled. Even our anniversary that is done every July, now most probably we have to wait till end of the year or maybe early next year. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to have a follow-up question to this. And so I think a lot of people have actually approached us because I personally know some of them. A lot of people ask, hey, actually this program, those Kunia, those helmet, those TMB program, who came up with the idea? I think a lot of people here, hey, very interesting. Was it the partner or was it Perintis? So what is behind the scene work like? So would you mind to share this with us, Lawrence?
Yeah. Of course, not everything comes from me. Not all the ideas. Some of our partners do already have the idea, but they just need some of our strength to actually reach out to the schools, to be reaching out to the right target group in terms of the campaign. But of course, there are many campaigns that actually the ideas came from MyPerintis. Again, not entirely from me, but I think it's a work of a brainstorm from the team, and actually we come up with the ideas. I think those people who actually know MyPerintis team, we're all young people. I'm so sorry, but I've never hired old people in the team. I'm not saying old people are not good. Actually, I have a lot of very senior people who are my advisors, which I think even people in the trustees of MyPerintis are people that I always ask for advice. But inside the management team of Perintis, we're all young people that actually give crazy ideas, different ways of doing things. We were actually talking about doing a dance challenge for Raya tomorrow, starting Ramadan soon. So there's a lot of ideas actually we bounce around during in the internal team. And fortunately, the team, the external team, which the corporate partners that we talk with, or whoever partners that we work with, they are very receptive. They're very open to new ideas, especially when they know that they are reaching out to the young people. They know that they may need to reach them differently. Young people, they don't like to listen to talk. So you cannot just do workshops and conferences over conferences. They will say thank you very much, I'm not interested to join my apprentice program. So yeah, I think it's a mix of both sides.
Good stuff.
Lawrence, I can't agree more with what you said. Definitely a team of great minds will come up with great ideas, especially the young people like us.
Like us?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move towards talking about the NGO space in Malaysia. So it's really nice that we see a lot of NGO mushrooming throughout the past few years, especially the younger generations. Nowadays, they want to do work that has a meaning and contribute to solving world problems. Could you tell us what do you think about the NGO space in Malaysia and the government's focus on youth development?
Well, I do not have the numbers with me, but I think Malaysia have very big number of NGOs. We have a lot of NGOs, but of course they are doing different things. Some of them are very fantastic. I know some of them do very good jobs in different aspects, education or even social welfare. So I think in terms of NGO space, we have a lot of different NGOs in Malaysia doing different things, but sometimes we are also a bit. When you have too many, then you are lonely, right? When you work alone, you work very silo, and sometimes, so sometimes it's very difficult to gather all the strength in one place. So I think generally it's fine. I mean, at least it shows that Malaysians like to actually create something and want to take charge of something. Government's focus on youth development, what I feel is maybe different government or different ministers, sometimes they have different focuses, right? So some may be focused on sports, some may be focused on developing on something else, but youth development per se, I think it's very wide. That's why you see in MyPerintis, I have never, people came to me and said, Lawrence, what actually MyPerintis want to focus on? So I say it's very difficult to focus on one thing, because if you focus, let's say, on education, so people who are interested in education, they will come and join you, they'll be happy. But those who are not interested in this particular pillar, they may go off to another NGO. So I'm not saying that we need to catch all, but we will try to be, inclusive as much as we can in running our programs and introducing our programs. So I think the government's focus definitely is there, and especially these recent GEs. When I started 5 years ago, I think nobody cares about young people in a way. But of course, recently after GE 13, after GE 14, they realized that young people's power is actually rising, and the need to actually nurture this group is, I think, is already there now. So I think there's a very big change over these years.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very important that young people come together nowadays through platform like this to voice out things that they're passionate about. Let's since we are talking about young people, they actually say that like there's a generation gap between the baby boomers, or they don't understand the millennials or generation Y and Z. How do you see the young people different from 5 years ago until today?
Well, I always share this with a lot of people who ask me this question. It is not difficult to actually make young people excited. It is not difficult. It is not difficult, seriously. I think Wesley is very good in this. He has done numerous talks for university students, corporate young people. Again, 5 years ago, young people are not really being focused about. People don't really care in a way, even the government. But of course now, people realize that it is important to nurture your future leaders, and that's why there are so many ample. You see, 5-6 years ago, you literally can see nothing. Literally, you don't see any youth programs. Literally, you don't see any whatever startup. Maybe there is one or two, and that's about it. So recent 5 years actually make a big change. So young people has more awareness now. I think they have more information. Of course, now you see, even MCO, we do FB Live on MyPerintis, I think now the whole world is doing FB Live. So whenever I on my Facebook feed, I will definitely see a live that is definitely going on, no matter it's one person or or hundreds of people. So 5 years ago, young people may not have enough information. They don't. They just have to rely on certain things to get information to act on. But I think today, young people are very easily, everything is within their phone, right?
Yeah.
So it's not hard to get them excited, but it's just that how to make them have an informed decision. That is more important. The right information with the right action. I think that is something that is still very challenging. This is what I see. Young people are different.
Yeah, I think it's a very clear direction there. I remember you mentioned this during the first interview that you had was, again, information, it's already there in the market. It's just the right source, the right information, and the appropriate information for people to have an informed decision. And it comes to this point, I think it's very important for us to understand. So now it's interesting part when we talk about young people, right? So we got somebody asking, Lawrence, what's your definition of young? So in your context, do you have a certain definition of young?
Well, if you're going to ask me, the government's definition is below 40. Then after that, eventually we move down to below 30. Of course, now you have the movement that actually allows 18 years old to vote. But of course, it's not completely done yet, but that is the benchmark. I think young people would be below 30. I think that will be a better, because I think after 30 or even after 25, I think whatever mindset or behavioral that you have, I think it's almost fixed. So if you want to really help the young people, I think it's going to be below 30.
Right, below 30. So because probably suddenly David Young, I think, interested and say, can I join MyPerintis? Jay? So let's speak to Lawrence, right? Okay, so I have a follow-up question. Lawrence, you mentioned about the NGO space and you say about the young people different, and then there got something that popped into my mind and says this. So we know that there are a lot of NGOs suddenly just come out just like that. Be it so many different domain, youth, environment, you name it, there's so many, right? And one of the biggest challenges in a lot of NGOs is sustainability. Yeah. It's always so easy to just get registered and to just open an NGO. But the question is not about starting, it's about how do you sustain. Having walked so far for the past 5 years, and I do hope that we will continue growing from strength to strength from 5 to 15 to 50 years, how do you ensure that this NGO Apprentice, how do you make sure that it's sustainable? Because I'm sure for those out there, a lot of people, hey, let's go and help people. But I think helping people is a cost, but how do you make sure that it's sustainable? So how did you do that for the past 5 years?
I think the misconception about NGOs and foundations and things like that is because they are very dependent. They are very dependent on sponsorship, or they are very dependent on donations. I think, again, people who know MyPerintis very well, or we actually rarely have donation drive. We don't do that. I'm a person that is also not interested in donation and donation as in, you always ask people to donate and things like that. So we always try to find a mechanism, a model which actually people still pay MyPerintis to actually for our services, where in return actually then we will render our services to the clients so that then they can actually pay us to run their campaigns. So in MyPerintis, we have a company called School of Life. So School of Life is actually the company that makes money for Apprentice. So it means that companies pay us to do their digital campaigns, their offline campaigns, their events, So from there we make money, then we will actually put back to MyPerintis. So we don't actually, again, I think donation drive less than my 5 fingers over the span of 5 years. But of course, we have very good friends, partners that actually believe in us, and we continue to improve our services to our friends and our clients. So I don't really like that model. So for sustainability, we find what is our strength. So our strength is to outreach. Our strength is to go down to the ground. We know which are the best school that you need to go to in terms of certain criteria that is given by our clients. Then we will do it for you, and then we will get that event done for you. So I think that is one model that I have in Apprentice.
Okay. Yeah, Lawrence, I think that's a very interesting model to actually sustain long term. I think many has to consider that as well. Okay, speaking about a lot of people that you are thankful for that has been with you throughout MyPerintis. Since MyPerintis has came a long way, who are some of the supportive people whom you want to give credit for?
Oh, this is a very long list and a very tricky list because if I'm going to read certain names and certain people's name is not going mentioned, but I think there are some heroes that I know that they don't want to be mentioned as well. But of course, first thing first, my family is very important. Actually, my parents sometimes still don't know what am I doing. In the early days, they don't know why do you want to create an organization, and then there was times also, in terms of some bumpy rides that I think people like Wesley know. They were asking, why do you want to do this? Why do why don't you just, get a job and, be a regular Malaysian? I'm not very different. I mean, just be a regular employee and that's it. You should be having a happy life. Yeah, first, my family, that's for sure. My wife, my brother, my mother, my father, so my family. Of course, number two, the second group of people that I really want to thank are my team members, my staffs. So these are the people that has been, whether they are still with me or they are not with me, I think they have grown MyPerintis in certain degree when they are serving in MyPerintis. So we have too many phases, from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. We have changed numerous times in terms of our focus, our different way of doing things. So every individual has actually imparted different things in MyPerintis, and of course I continuously learn from them as well. So my team, I call them the alumni, those who are not with me anymore, and also to those who are still with me. Definitely they are the second group of people I want to thank. Of course, the trustees, the board of trustees, Wesley himself as well, the board of trustees, and also the youth influencers, the future shifters. They also have been there to be supporting whatever that MyPerintis has been doing for the longest time, both on ideas, both we have challenged each other basically in meetings on what should we do, what should we not do, and the board of trustees plays a very important role. And of course, I have to thank the partners, our clients, our corporate partners that has been supporting us for many years. A lot of them actually are there for many years, and we became friends. I think Wesley is one of them, and of course we have others as well. We became friends eventually, and we can talk about anything under the sun and the moon. So these are the corporate friends and private sector friends that I want to thank them. Of course, NGOs that has been working with us, young people, members of MyPerintis, and wow, there's so many more that I hope that I have not missed out.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much. Again, most welcome. It's been interesting journey that we have. Personally, for me, started with youth influencer, now in trustee, and then just working hand in hand. I also want to thank you for that. Right? Okay, so let's go into a question that was posted by David, and David has a very interesting question. As a follow-up on how you define on how youth is different 5 years from now to today. Now, do you find loyalty is something lacking in young people? Now, what's your take on this?
Loyalty is a very expensive thing. So I think people who know me, again, Tun M has been the patron since day one. And until today, he is still the patron. The very fundamental reason is because loyalty. And I think you must know what you believe in and what do you stand for. So because there's so many different things that can actually lure you in different ways, be it money, be it position, be it business, and etc. So again, friends who know me very closely, I was actually humiliated for working with the patron, etc., etc. But I said no. Number one, I'm very focused. I'm not interested in politics. I'm not going to use this as my political tool to do anything. So my conscience is clear. Number two, why Tun? Is because clearly I want to learn from him. Right, wrong, knowledge, whatever. I will filter it myself whether it is right or wrong to learn. But the first thing first is Tun must be must be willing to teach you. This is where I felt that it's okay to you learn, you get the information, you digest yourself whether is this going to be right or wrong. So it's not a problem of that particular person figure. So I felt that no, I will continue to stick with him until forever, until whenever I'm going to still continue to be in MyPerintis. So loyalty is not to say it's lack of or not in young people. It depends on very individual. We see people jump around, that's for sure. Yeah, so I think it's more of yourself. What do you want to get out of this relationship, or what do you want to get out of this? So if your conscience is clear, your plan is clear, why do you want to work with certain people, then I think it should be not very difficult. But again, in this world, there's so many things that can lure you. Yeah.
Okay, Lawrence, speaking about what you believe, that we need to have something that we believe in, being clear on our goals, and whether we will stick to an organization. Let's speak about MyPerintis. What's your vision and hope for MyPerintis, other than digitalization?
Well, digitalization has been something that I really want to do for very long. Hopefully, it's going to continue to sail even after MCO. But other than that, I really hope that MyPerintis continue to be relevant to the young people. I think that is most important. I want this organization, again, I don't want to be the boss of the boss or the king of the king. I just want people to know that MyPerintis resonates with young people. We will try to be as close to you as possible, and we will try to do more programs that is more relevant to you. So that's why people who know us, we do mental health programs, we do financial literacy programs, we even do video challenge. Why? It's because we try to diversify our focus so that we can resonate to you on your daily life basis, where young people are going through mental stress, young people are going through financial difficulties, but at the same time, young people want to have fun while they learn. So we also have very serious programs, but at the same time, we also have very fun programs. So I hope my vision is in the future, you see, when I'm not going to promote for KFC, but if people think of chicken, it's KFC, right? So if people think of fillet-o-fish, it's McDonald's. I hope that when people one day remember young people's organization, that will be MyPerintis.
Fantastic. All right. I think speaking of which, you talk about that aspiration and that household, or we call the brand name, right, for youth is MyPerintis. Speaking of which, we have an interesting question from Lim Jai. Radhika, we acknowledge your question. You'll be next after this. So Lim Jai posed a question. What do you think about youth leadership in Malaysia? What can we do as youth leaders? What's your take on this, Lawrence?
You see, in MyPerintis, right? Actually, I just want to use this question to share a story. Tun M has Perdana Leadership Foundation, right? We call it PLF. So when I first met him, I actually spoke to him and said, Tun, I want to mimic something, but because Perdana Leadership, I feel a bit atas lah. The one is for the for the CEOs and for the very serious stuff. So I said, why don't I form an organization called the Youth Leadership Foundation. So at that time, Tun told me and said, Lawrence, as a youth, you may not want to always be perceived as you want to be a leader. You should perceive yourself of being a trailblazer. Always be the first person to make the first step to do something. And you do not need to always portray yourself. And that's why over the past 5 years, I think, again, people who know me well, I don't always portray myself. I don't do my posters in front. I don't put my face here and there, because again, you do not need to always portray yourself as a leader, but you should be a trailblazer that actually starts something different and do something different. So to answer that question on youth leadership, and that's why Tun said maybe you should be a trailblazer, and that's why from Trailblazer we got the word Perintis, and then from there MyPerintis was formed. It was actually using this aspiration of don't portraying ourselves as leader. So youth leadership, as youth leaders or even youth trailblazers, I think first thing first is always knowledge. I always believe in knowledge. So if you get the right knowledge, then you can digest the right process, and then you can make your right informed decision. So I feel that why why sometimes we make hasty decision or we make the wrong decision is because we always get wrong information or we always get fake information. I think there's so many fake news, right? So so as a youth leader, if you have you should continuously learn. I think this is number one. Continuously learn and continuously seek knowledge, and then I think leadership skills and things like that will come by if you have sufficient knowledge. I always believe in that. Yeah.
Okay, let's take the next question from Radhika. So she asks if, do you think the Malaysian youth have enough platform to contribute to the community? Or is it Malaysian youth are not aware of the reality of Malaysia?
Oh, enough platforms to contribute. I think we have too many platforms. In fact, you want platforms that give money pun ada. You want to have platforms that give energy pun ada. I think there's a lot of platforms for you to contribute. It's just that you have to know what is your interest. I think this is very important. And the reality of Malaysia. In fact, even I myself, sometimes I don't know everything. So of course, politically, economically, and socially, there's so many things that actually sometimes I don't know as well, and I need to see, I need to learn, I need to listen to people, I need to do a lot of readings, I need to do a lot of outreach, I need to be on the ground to see what's happening. So I think it's normal not to be aware of the reality of many things, because as young as we are, sometimes we are also not involved in the, not many people are like YB Syed Saddiq that has the opportunity to be a minister at that age. And of course, now being a minister, ex-minister, of course, minister, he has the experience of going into cabinet meetings and then blah, blah, blah. So of course, this is something that you need to be given opportunity to, so that you can learn. So I think it's normal for young people not to have enough awareness or get to know what is the reality in Malaysia. But I think definitely we can learn a lot along the way. We can keep reading, we can keep seeking knowledge, we can keep asking. So I hope I answer your question. Platform, definitely we have a lot of platforms. MyPerintis is one of them.
All right, thank you very much, Jayi and Radhika. I mean, if we hope that Lawrence addressed your question. If yes, just put a yes so that we know you're still tuning with us. All right, so here's an interesting remark there from David. David says the young ones like to learn new things, hence the chance of them being lawyer is something low in them. It's important that we keep on coming with new things, challenges, programs, just my opinion. David, I think what I resonate is clarity. I think youth needs to have clarity to know what they want, what they don't want, what they like and what they don't like. Because once they have clarity, at least they know where are they heading to. So again, thank you very much for sharing that, David. Okay, so Lawrence, I've got a follow-up question. You mentioned about there are so many NGOs out there, right? So here's my question for you. Number one, how did you position Perintis different from the rest? And my next question, as a follow-up question, are posted by I think posted by just some questions, right? Now, since you know that MyPerintis, one of the strengths is youth activation, why don't you just turn it into full profit? Instead, why NGO?
Sorry, your first question was how different are we?
How did you manage to make Yayasan different from others? I mean, like different from others. And number two, since you know that you have strength in a certain area, why NGO and why not just full profit? Again, just my question. Yes.
To answer your first question on the, how are we different? Again, I don't want to be perceived as we are trying to be different or trying to be superior or dominant over other NGOs. But one strength that I always share with other people is MyPerintis is multifocal. We try to be as close as possible and as diverse as possible to young people. Of course, a lot of people say that it's difficult when you don't focus on particularly one thing. But I don't agree in certain extent because, again, young people, they can like A today and they can like B tomorrow and they can like C the day after. So one thing I'm very proud about MyPerintis is we do so many different things. We go for road safety to mental health to even, you name it. So this is one thing that I felt is a bit different. We don't only have one particular pillar. I think that is how we are different. And on your question about why do we not turn it as a profit? I think we have to be clear over here when it comes to certain things that we do. So when it's business related, then it should be done at a business capacity of having a full-fledged company that does business work, which School of Life is doing. So School of Life, when we talk to people, it's full-fledged, business. But when it comes to a foundation, it has to be also very focused on what a foundation is supposed to be and what is an NGO supposed to be. We are supposed to focus on charitable work. We are supposed to focus on different, so it's a two different entity. So we just have to be clear on why. That's why we have both, because we, at certain capacity, we do certain things. So I think we are not going to be here or there. So we have different vehicles that does different things. Yeah.
Okay, Lawrence, I have one more question for you. So far, throughout the entire sharing session, I think you have very much resonated with a lot of young people. Whatever that you speak, I think a lot of us are very inspired by what you say. So having been through all these so many ups and downs throughout MyPerintis, setting it up, what is the one message you want to shout out to the youth?
Shout out to the youth. Again, 5 years ago, my message would be youth should step up. Actually, 5 years ago and today is still the same. I always share this to a lot of people as well. Just step up and do something. It is not necessary whatever that you do has to be very big, has to be very substantial, then must get recognition. Actually people who know me, I don't apply for any awards, I don't apply for anything. As long as you're happy, when I go back and I see my kids, I hope I've done a little bit here and there. Of course, when Tun was the PM, I actually wrote to him on what I think about education system reform. Although, to be honest, I'm sure he has tons of letters to read. Whether he reads it or not, I just felt that I had the opportunity to actually write to the patron and give my ideas. And of course, fortunately, he read, and after that, I met up with him to give my ideas. So step up. I think just step up. Just do something small, big, even writing a letter, or even trying to organize a very small event, whatever. So I think we do not need to know the mechanism. How big is it? What I mean is, we do not need to know the quantum of it. Just do something, and I believe you can make a difference, because I felt that we have actually made a lot of difference in a lot of people, and actually there's a lot of inspiring stories of people who have engaged with MyPerintis before. And sometimes when I hear these stories, they are very touching. So you do not need to make the whole neighborhood, to shout out about. It's just one people that is happy about you. You have changed the person's life. I think that is enough, sufficient. So just step up, do something.
All right, thank you very much, Lawrence, for that. I mean, again, we would love to hear you talk more, but I think we're almost reaching the end of this program. Well, we purposely want to do the save the best for the last. All right. So for those viewers out there, again, I want to take this chance to thank you on behalf of myself, Wesley, and also for MyPerintis. I want to say thank you, all of you, for joining this Facebook Live here today. And also today we have Susan, right? Susan, you want to say anything to our viewers out there?
Thank you very much for sharing your life story, Dato. I think on behalf of everyone as well here listening, the many lives that you have touched, MyPerintis has touched, thank you. I think it's really amazing that you open yourself up and share on these platforms, turning words and aspirations into actions, building up MyPerintis to where it is today. Thank you for playing your part, so we could all make a difference, like what you say, just step up.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Susan, for that. And again, I want to take this chance to thank you, Lawrence, for being on the show here today. Today, we probably shift you to the other place so that we are the one interviewing you. And like what David says, we have to step up, like the recent small little girl who wrote a letter to our Director General of Health. That is very inspiring. That was really no joke. That one, I see you also like, what am I doing, right? Okay, so I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you here. Again, thank you so much for joining. And I would like to invite all of you to like and share this Facebook Live so that we can benefit many more people out there, specifically for those youth who want to step up and do something with their future or their career. So have us to like and share so that you will stand a chance to win the limited edition Ton Mahathir Touch and Go card. So that's one. And also the next one is that we are currently running a campaign from MyPerintis called the MyPerintis Care to support the frontliners and the deserving family members. So I'd like to invite all of you to be part of this contribution. And how do you do so? It's very easy. So join us in our Telegram channel. So this will be the t.me and /MyPerintis, and we'd love to welcome all of you here to be part of this initiative. One more time, thank you so much for joining on the show, Su Xian, for being my wonderful host here today. And also, Lawrence, you have any last words for anybody here?
Again, a lot of our guests previously said stay home, stay safe. So I think we have had enough reminders on that.
Yeah.
I think hopefully MCO will end soon. Hopefully with this, I wish everybody the best. Continue to be safe, and MyPerintis is always open for ideas, for collaboration. So if you have anything that you have in mind, crazy stuff, fantastic things, please reach out to our team in our Facebook.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, we have this one tradition here. Before we end, we will take a group picture. Right. What we're gonna do is, so Su Xian, you're gonna show love sign to the camera, and we're gonna yes. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining. And on behalf of MyPerintis, I want to thank all of you for your continuous support. And also, the good news is that next week we will be launching a sales and marketing breakthrough week. Lawrence, you want to explain?
No, I think you are more the right person to share about this initiative. But again, why we came up with that is just that I felt that we have done quite a number of Facebook Live. I think we have fantastic speakers that have shared so many different topics. But next week onwards, we will want to be very focused on certain lines or certain things that maybe our audience would like to listen. So maybe Wesley, you will be a better person to share about this.
Oh, I'm excited, right? Okay, so for those of you viewers out there, I want to thank you for all this continuous support. We have touched so many areas in SME, in sports, so many areas. And again, counting back, today is our 17. We have already done past 16, today 17, which is a lot of Facebook Live. Thought until I think laggy also become very lag. Okay, so here's the thing. What we strongly believe is now motivation is very important to keep ourselves positive. Now, what we think is also very important is to be more specific into a certain niche. So what we're going to do next week is that for 5 days from Monday to Friday, we will have a sales and marketing breakthrough week. So what's a sales and marketing breakthrough week? A special shout out for all of you in sales, business owners, or related to customer service or even customer engagement. So long as you deal with sales, marketing, or customer engagement, this is a program for you. So next week, every single day, do wait for our posters. We have lined up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every single day, we will touch on the specific sales and marketing topic, ranging on how do we validate our business idea? How do we use video as a good content? How do you then digital transformation? How do you then use different sales and marketing strategies to help us boost our sales? Because we have talked a lot about thinking, mindset, and all. We want to go straight into the actionable, practical strategies to share with you, not just on behalf of MyPerintis, but we're specifically invited guest speakers who are in the industry. These people who will share with you how to motivate sales team remotely. These people will share with you how to do sales during crisis. So stay tuned. Monday to Friday next week, we're going to do it 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Yes, Lawrence, right? 11 to 12 next week, because we want to share with you practical, actionable strategies. Go down into the details of what we can do to increase our bottom line, to increase our revenue, to do sales and marketing during crisis. So stay tuned to our posters. And again, to shout out to all of you here to join us, help us to share, and we're looking forward to see you there. All right. And anything else, Lawrence, Lucian? Nothing?
No problem.
Okay, so with that, everybody, thank you so much for your time. And once again, stay safe, stay at home, and stay awesome. Until then, I will see you next Monday, 11 o'clock. Until then, signing off from MyPerintis, Wesley Chan. Bye-bye.